Hi, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about overcoming procrastination and setting realistic decluttering goals. Go ahead and laugh, Janice. You want to tell them what we're going to cover?
Yeah, I've never procrastinated ever in decluttering. Um,
Ever.
Never. So today we're gonna cover why we procrastinate when it comes to decluttering, because it's different than saying we don't have enough time. It's actually
Right.
putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Strategies on how to overcome procrastination, which is going to be helpful, and how to set achievable goals when it comes to decluttering and your long-term success in decluttering.
So if you've been putting things off because it feels overwhelming or you don't know where to start, this is the episode. Let's get to it.
So, procrastination isn't just about being lazy. It really isn't. It's often rooted under deeper feelings.
Mhm.
So, I'm going to break it down. So, number one feeling is usually overwhelm, where you just look at it and the sheer volume of the things in your house just makes it hard to decide where to start. And you kind of look at it as an all or nothing task where I've got to do a whole room today, or I have to do the whole garage. And that really makes it feel like I can't get it done. So that's one of the reasons we procrastinate. The other one is called perfectionism, and you're waiting for that perfect time, or when you feel like you want to do it. And
Right.
a lot of us really don't want to do it, but it's something that we have to do if we want to reclaim our house.
Right.
So if we kind of let go of feeling that we either have to be perfect in getting it all done, or there's no perfect time, then we can start attacking our clutter more realistically.
Well, and one of the other things we're going to talk about here is the emotional resistance,
Yeah.
because it can bring up guilt, regret, nostalgia. If you're holding on to items from, say, past relationships
Mhm.
or missed opportunities, I can personally tell you, letting go of some of those things is amazing. It's just an amazing feeling to finally let go of things like that. You've been holding on to them because, oh gosh, that boyfriend and I did this trip and la 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 la, and that's been 20 years now. And it just, when you let go of that, it frees you to make space for things that are current and make you happy now. Um, and other people also have fear of decision fatigue. It's like, I have to make all these decisions. Do I want to keep the red pen or the yellow pen? I just don't know. I can't make any more decisions. And I have found that's something that happens not just with decluttering and housework, but with all different kinds of ways. I would work all day and I'd been making decisions all day. I'd been leading these people all day and telling people what to do all day. And I would come home and my husband would say, "Let's go out to dinner. Where do you want to go?" I'm like, "I cannot make another decision." So that kind of thing, the decision fatigue is for
It
real.
it is real. But, when it comes back to decluttering, understanding why you're procrastinating is actually one of the first steps to overcome real procrastination. So, just acknowledge that you have these feelings, and
Mhm.
that's why you're delaying actually acting.
Right.
And, remind yourself that small actions can break the cycle,
Right.
and you can
Right.
do it. You just have to decide that you're going to.
Exactly. And I know you hear us say this a lot, but set your timer. You can set your timer for 2 minutes and just go do something for 2 minutes. We've talked about this before when you're watching, like, streaming shows and you're on one of those channels that, will break for a commercial, and they give you a timer in the
Yeah.
top showing you how long that break is, and you can get a lot done besides getting a glass of water during that break. So
So another
that's a good
strategy is to start with the easiest areas. Like start with a space that feels manageable. I like to start like with the refrigerator because you know what? If something's growing mold, it goes out. It's not a hard decision. If that milk is bad, it should go out. So go with the low lying fruit. Trash is really easy to get rid of.
you
So
just need to be able to recognize what is trash, and that and
broken
that is
things, expired things, empty
right.
packages, that's trash.
Right, right.
The other thing too is you have to be able to visualize your success and imagine that table completely cleared. Imagine the dishwasher empty. Um, so then you have a realistic goal. You know that this is what you're aiming for. And then you can stop when you reach it, or you can stop after you get half of it done. You don't have to do it all at one time.
And you can use that phone of yours to take
Yes.
pictures. So do a before picture because you may be working for 5 minutes and you're like, "I haven't gotten anything done." And then you look at the before picture that's sitting right there on your phone and you realize, "Wow,
It
yes, I have.
it does
I
make
have
a
gotten."
difference.
And
Yeah.
that is really big because a lot of that is tied into clutter blindness.
Yes.
When it's around you so much, you think it's always that it's just there. It just
So
is
the
there and
and
you
the
don't notice
best
it.
way to get through that color blindness is to take a picture and switch it to the filter of black and white, and you can see the things that don't belong there, or that there are too many things in the area, and it'll help you decide what things to remove.
It's fascinating how that works too, because it's some psychological thing, whatever. But it when you are experiencing clutter blindness, you've got stuff all over and you just don't notice it anymore because it's been there.
You've
You see it all the
acclimated
time in
to it.
color.
Yeah.
And since you always see it in color, when you change that to black and white, it gives you the structure of the room or the shelf, and everything is equal. And so you're not hiding parts. It's
Right.
fascinating, but it really, really does work.
And this is another thing that you this is a realistic strategy to overcome procrastination. It's adopt the one thing in, one thing out rule. But Julie's going to say two.
2 things out.
So,
I am downsizing. So to declutter and downsize, if one thing comes in, not talking about food, one thing comes in, 2 have to leave because otherwise it's just an even wash and you still have as much stuff. So
that's true. That's true.
I
So you
that's
really
my
need to again be intentional about what things you're bringing in, because that means you should be taking things out. Things need
right,
to leave if you're ever going to truly have a decluttered space.
right,
Another thing that can help is having an accountability partner. Share your goals with a friend or family member who can then hold you accountable and check on your progress. Um, Post what you're going to do in our private Facebook account, or
right,
our private Facebook community.
you're right,
Say, I'm going to do this. And then you know that people are going to say, oh, how'd it go? And
right,
so it it kind of puts a little bit of a pressure on you to actually get it done.
right. So it's just accountability. Um, we don't within our little Facebook community, we do not allow people to be mean
Yeah.
or snotty or
Or
rude.
judgy,
So yeah.
opinionated.
So yeah, no pickiness. Everybody is on their own path here. So it is just so nice though to have support. And when you go in to do something, for instance, we had our espresso maker explode and that was a lot of fun. So I posted about that and it was fascinating all the different responses I got and people actually going and checking theirs to make sure they did it right. That was kind of cool. And reward yourself when
Yes.
you've done something and be proud of yourself. That's awesome. It's
You
when you
achieved
got out of
something.
bed this morning, that wasn't done, and it's done now. That's awesome. So, absolutely, give yourself a treat, take a break, take a walk, buy a puppy. I don't know, but
Oh, no, 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 don't buy puppy. So let's talk about setting realistic goals.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about setting goals, you need to keep in mind that you need to be motivated rather than overwhelmed. Because the worst thing you can do is to say, "Oh, I'm going," like I said, declutter the garage. I've got a 3-car garage. I'm not gonna get that done in a day. I'm not even gonna get it done in a weekend. I might get it done over 3 months. So, set a realistic goal. And the other thing is define why you are decluttering this area. Clarify why you want to declutter. Do you want to do it to reduce stress? Do you want to do it to save time? Do you want to create a more peaceful environment? Are you downsizing? Know why you want to declutter. I mean, I want to declutter because I've been doing it for so long. I want to spend my time doing more fun things rather than worrying about, decluttering the attic or whatever. I mean, we actually did declutter the attic. There's nothing up there now. So we
So
have to decide what we want to do so it doesn't get cluttered again.
right, and for myself personally, I had to discover why I cluttered in the first place, and because honestly, in my family came from a large family, and I was always the messy kid, yada, 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 all that stuff, but it took me until much later in life to be able to actually declutter and let go of things, and I didn't realize until I realized why I cluttered in the first place, then I could let go. And for me, it had to do with, childhood trauma, which we all have, but there was some trauma. And this was control. These were things that I held on to. These were my things and nobody could take these from me. And once I discovered that, it was like my hands opened and things could go away. It didn't matter anymore. But it took a lot of thinking about to figure out why I cluttered. And then it made it very easy for me knowing why I was decluttering is because I was getting rid of all this stuff. I didn't need this stuff anymore. It was all due to emotion and I didn't have to deal with that anymore. And gosh, it feels so good to dump a lot of that stuff. Really good. So,
So
why
yeah,
are you decluttering and why did you clutter in the first place? You don't have to go as deep as I went, but it is nice to give yourself an idea of why the clutter has grown.
or why you are not decluttering. I mean, I found it that I wasn't decluttering and I was procrastinating because I felt like it was an obligation. And once I switched it from it's a privilege for me to be able to do this and I'm going to do it on my own time, then I took control of it rather than just living with the clutter.
Right.
And so I
Right.
finally was able to get rid of stuff because it was now me doing it for me rather me feeling like I had to do it for my family. So once you figure out why you are avoiding clutter or why you are having clutter, it actually does make it easier for you to declutter.
Right.
It really does.
Right. Yeah. And
Hmm.
you can prioritize by categories or by space. It's like I want to make sure that this downstairs closet is completely clear because it needs to be. Um, and so you can do it that way, or you can do, you know what? I've got scissors over the house. Maybe I'm going to go find all the scissors today. And so you can do categories like that. But
You, so I when it comes to organizing, a lot of people say you should always group like with like. And then
except for
there's
scissors.
and then there's the other group who says you should keep it where it's used. And I think that's why scissors you tend to have so many of them because I have one in my desk, I have one in the laundry room, I have one in the kitchen, and I'm not going to put them all in one place because then
Mm,
I'm just going to be running up and down the stairs. But you need to know how many you have because
right.
if you have 3 in your laundry room, you don't need 3, you only need 1. So it's a good idea to take
Take
uh,
stock of what you.
take stock and inventory
Yeah.
of what you have, so you can feel like you can declutter. I mean, that's actually a big one too. Is that a lot of times you don't know what you have, and that prevents you from letting things go. So if you organize or if you create your like but like category, like with like categories,
Mhm.
it makes it easier to let go of the extras. Because,
Right.
a lot of us sometimes can't find it when we need it anyway, and then we buy another one. And because you
Right.
can't find it, you can't get rid of the ones that are somewhere in your house. It's sad. It's kind of sad,
Oh,
but it's true,
yeah.
but it happens.
Oh, man. And you can also do like, you can set a time-based goal. It's like, "All right, after dinner tonight, I'm gonna spend 12 minutes going through the utensil drawer. Tomorrow night after dinner, I'm going to spend 12 minutes going through the laundry room cabinet." And so make yourself some little time. They're time based. So you're only going to do a decluttering dozen, or you can do shorter, which or longer, whichever you like. But do start
But
with your
think about
decluttering dozen.
this. If you do 5 decluttering dozens in 1 week, you've decluttered an entire hour in just
Right,
5 days.
right.
Doesn't sound like it's a lot of time, but it adds up.
It does add up. And hopefully you'll also be seeing how much is happening by looking at your donation station. Or, oh my gosh, there's so much trash, it won't fit all in the garbage can today. That kind of thing. So
But
that's a
the other
part.
thing that's important too is that be flexible. Life happens. If you don't get to it today, don't beat yourself up over it. But, it's important to not skip twice in a row. That's something that you learn when you're trying to build habits is that it's okay to miss one every couple of times, but if you start missing two in a row, then you're creating a negative habit, which means you're creating the habit to skip doing it.
Right.
So,
Right.
just
So
try to be
understanding
consistent.
right. And understanding procrastination where it comes from overwhelm, perfectionism, emotional resistance, whichever. We've given you a few different strategies.
Yep.
So you can use your timer. You can even like when we do different challenges and things, we'll give you a like a month calendar or a check off list. Do that kind of thing for yourself also. And that way you can actually see what you finished. If you are someone who tends to journal about it. Write down how many things you have done and focus on your small specific tasks and
And
small
try and create
doable
a
doses.
plan. Because a lot of times, if you have a plan, you can say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for 12 minutes, and this is my goal. And every time you do that, you get closer to the overall goal. It doesn't have to, you don't have, to do it all in one day, but try and keep on track and build consistency.
Exactly. Exactly. So your challenge for this week, yes, get out your timer. It's to do a little decluttering dozen, hashtag decluttering dozen, um, and start with something that's easy. Something easy. The bottom shelf in the bathroom cabinet or
That junk drawer.
the junk drawer, the drawer under the stove, whatever. Just pick yourself something that's small because you know you can do this. You know you can do this now. And share your progress
Yes.
with us. We would love to celebrate with you and for you. And with that, I think that's the end of the JJ's Declutter Podcast
Yep.
for this week. So we will see you soon. Don't forget to get our books, Speed Decluttering, and we will talk to you again soon.